hopping along, and what he's going to do, he's going to do that. And that's what I wanted to show you. And it's been happening all day. You get good at this stuff, and they're easy to avoid. Hey everyone, just wanted to do a quick video on driving, managing wildlife so that you don't hit it, what you should do, what I've seen, the way different wildlife behaves. So we'll talk about a few different items and which ones you need to worry about and which ones you don't and why, and a few things like that. So it would seem pretty obvious driving in the dark is your number one problem for two main reasons, which are obvious, right? We said that. Sometimes they're out and about, they're out and about at night, on the move. They're on the move. So you want to pick a time when they're less on the move, which I think generally during the day. Early morning, late in the day can be problematic also. It can be when they're on the move more than any other time. Coming down out of the forest to, take a, bit of a feed on some nice grass down the bottom there somewhere, and they go back up into the forest. So they could be travelling up and down. They could be travelling up and down, at that time in the morning or in the evening. So you got to watch out for that one. We've got kangaroos over there on the left. So you got to have good eyes. But the other reason in the dark, your biggest one, I think, really, is the fact that you can't see. Because if you could see in the dark, then that'd be good. Get some night vision goggles or something like that. Heat, those heat, what are they called? Yeah. Anyway, that'd be cool because you'd be driving at night and you just in the dark, except you just see everything. And even hidden, there's one on the road right there. That's what I mean. There is no shortage of wildlife out here. Outback New South Wales, in my opinion, most wildlife I've ever seen. It's been consistent for years. And when I say outback, I don't mean, look, you'll be around Dubbo and you'll get the kangaroos and that. Once you get further outback, you get everything. And when I say everything, I mean you name it, you've got it. The only thing I haven't seen out here is a camel. And there's probably some out here. So avoid driving at night to your number one. Now, if you've got to drive at night, then some massive lights is going to help you because it helps you see at night, right? But there's different theories that they get attracted into the light. Kangaroos are certainly very stupid. We'll get to talking specific on each one shortly. But there's a kangaroo going across in front of us, a little one behind it, right? So we can just slow down and we can avoid them if we got our eyes on them, which is why it's not sunrise yet, and it might look darker in the video. And looking at the video, it does. It's a beautiful time of the morning. It's great to be out here, but you've got to think about a few things. I'm not towing. I've got a minimalist setup vehicle, no bull bars, no rear bar, so I've got all this weight hanging over the front axle, the rear axle, which changes the whole handling dynamics. I haven't got too much weight on the roof, so I've got really good, and I've got standard sized tyres. They're an all-terrain, but they're good road orientated all-terrain, so I've got really good braking and handling. I've got new brakes, suspension, all my bushes are good, and I'm an okay driver, so I believe that I can see any threat before I get to it. But you've got to be onto it, right? And driving out here, you've really got to be onto it all day. So even once the sun's up and you think you're safe, you're not. Because yesterday I had roos coming across in front of me. I had, throughout the whole trip I had the same thing. Nothing's hit me, I've hit nothing. I've been able to avoid them all. Some people say you're just lucky. Well, maybe I'm lucky, but I think I'm lucky because it's a well-planned. Luck is going to help, let's say. So lucky by plan. There's one there. He kept heading in that direction. Did you see him on the right? So this is the problem with, let's do kangaroos first, because they're the biggest problem, really, because the quantity of them, there's so many. And so look, depending where you are, I'm not bagging out the bull bars. Bull bars look great, and if you want to just hit and knock the kangaroos, if they're relatively small, you can probably get away with that without breaking any lights or any panel damage most of the time. But you're going to get a big one day. It's going to bend your bar, it's going to hit your bonnet, it's going to smash your lights, it's going to jump into the side of the vehicle anyway. Quite a lot of damages into the side of the vehicle. So your bull bar didn't stop that insurance claim anyway. A few things to think about because you're spending quite a substantial amount of money on a bull bar. bloody kangaroos, right? They're a pain. So there's heaps of them, but it's the change of direction, right? So they could just be going, they're just going along the road 1 minute. You cannot trust them, right? If they're near the road within a distance that you're not going to get past, you know, before, and they're close to the road, you just have to slow right down and go past slow. Again, calculated risk, like I've said in other videos, maybe on our other YouTube channel, 4x4 Adventures, 4x4 Diesel, which one's this for? You'll work it out because you're there now. That means check out the other channel, subscribe, turn bell on. You know, they just change direction, right? So you just don't know, and there's heaps on the road, so you know it's a big problem. Everybody around here's got bull bars. If you live out here and whatever, you've got a bull bar because you're going to be travelling on the roads so much that you've got a higher chance that you're going to actually hit one. Like I said, often you're going to have damage anyway. The other thing to think about, like I said in a number of other videos, the statistic is 25% of collisions with wildlife end up with serious or death, right? Injuries, serious injuries or death. 25% of those collisions. So it's a pretty big number. You see all these roos booked on the road. It would seem it's less than that, but that's, you know, whatever study that is or whatever statistic where they got that from. Or I'm just repeating what I heard. And I know it's a big problem. Example, so if one's up and it comes through your windscreen, it's in the car with you and you think it's sitting still, well, it might be dead, but the windscreen might be a soft landing and it might be kicking and bucking the absolute you know what. And I know someone that happened to. That's why you want to be careful if you're driving vans and trucks, anything with a flat windscreen. That's, you know, low trucks. You're not big up, not Kenworth bloody, you know, not a prime mover. Like, I mean, you know, so people that buy trucks and thinking about getting a truck and a big caravan and your boat on the roof and your quad bike and everything on the back, all that, you know, these 5-10 ton trucks, whatever they are, I don't even know what they are, Isuzu, whatever, right? Think about that, because boom, through the front windscreen. Hey, never heard of it? Should be right, maybe I'm dreaming. Right, so I had wild cats run across. I'm not gonna budge for a cat like I don't budge for a bird. You try and dodge a bird or a cat, you could hit a tree, you'll be dead. So small things you got to avoid. Over there we've got what have we got? Some sheep. Showing the sheep over there on the left. So the biggest one's kangaroos, right? Now the biggest one is cows, right? Cows are big. You hit a cow, it's all over. I don't care what bull bar you've got. It's not even FPV, front protection device. It's not FPD, I meant to say. Right? It's not even a front protection device. If you've got a big fat cow on the road, and that's what they are, because they just walk around all day eating, so they are big fat cows. They're big, they're heavy, they're solid. It's going to be like hitting a wall of concrete, pretty much almost. You might hit it, you're going to come to a stop pretty much instantly, and it might launch a couple of meters, and it's not going to be nice for anybody. So you don't want to hit a cow. Now, the good thing about cows, they're quite predictable. Generally, they'll stay put, they won't move much, but you never know. So if they're right next to the roadside, I'd slow right down. Once again, that rule about the lot slower you go, the longer you're there. They could step out in you still anyway. They might want to come for a rub, bit of a hug, you know. So you got to work that one out. Pigs. So massive wild boars, pigs. I saw a couple yesterday. One come barreling out on the right hand side. Luckily, what you've got to take into account is how clear it is at the side of the road. Now, these road governments, councils, whatever, in my opinion, I mean, all these paddocks are cleared. I'm not saying that's good, but the whole paddock's cleared, and I think they should leave parts of forest and other bush, so it's a bit of a mix. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But they just completely clear these paddocks to put stock or whatever farming, right? And the only trees and forest are between that private property fence and the roadside, which I think is a bad idea because you can't see what's there. I think it needs to be clear for 50 metres each side of the roadside to the private property, to the fence. Let's have that bit of forest in on the properties, away from the road would be ideal. Hey, for the animals, for the vehicles, for the whole efficiency of the country. We don't need to be replacing all these parts, all these cars, all these panel shops, the whole inconvenience, the hospital bills. You know, there's a whole cost to every time somebody hits wildlife, right? And it's probably more than you think estimation and experience. So if I had what I had now, it'd be a different story. Because if one came out of the bush now barreling out, he was probably doing, I'm going to guess maybe 30, 40 k's an hour. He was moving. He thought he was going to get across in front of me onto the dirt. So we'll slow down a bit for the dirt because what? Less braking, less manoeuvrability. So we're going to just slow it down a little bit more. Smooth road, we're not letting the tyres down at this point. Make sure you got it on fresh, same old story. Might want to engage your centre diff lock, not a bad idea. Let's see, centre diff lock is engaged. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this one up pretty quick because I've already been yakking 10 minutes. And look, a lot of it's good info, I guess. But, so what I did was, it's a quick thing, you don't have time to think about it. But I saw myself as being passed before he was out onto the road. And I was, so I stayed on the gas. I actually got a bit harder on the gas, you know, when the light changes to orange and you go, I don't know if I can stop safely. So you just want to keep it moving through, you know what I mean? Not speeding, not flying through, not going through when you should have stopped. It's a pet hate really. Stop if you can do so safely. But sometimes, you know, you're towing and I don't know, you've got to keep checking your speed and the speed limits, and it's the time that you look for the speed limit on the GPS or the dash, and that's when the light went orange, and you can get a bit messed around that way. Not your fault, you've got so many things to concentrate on, like the speed camera at the set of lights. You need to know your speed, so you're looking at your speed and then you didn't notice the light went orange, and yeah, you know the one I mean, those ones, right? And then if you put your foot on the gas and speed through, you're going to cop a speeding fine instead anyway, right? So let's back on topic. It's good chit chat though, isn't it, right? Anyway, it was an absolute pisser, right? He's come out of the bush on barreling out, and I've gone, oh no, and I've gone, what's that? I've gone, oh pig, and I've gone out, and I'm like, my foot moved to the brake, and I went, nah, we're through. Back on the gas. It's 2 degrees out here, by the way. Beautiful in the car though. Just turn the heater down to halfway. Bit of a longer video for those that want to hang around and have a chat, enjoy the drive. Bit of fog out here, light fog. Not too bad. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Comes out, and he would have, if he kept going, he would have crossed the road behind me. So my timing was good, but I've zoomed past in front of him. He's crapped him, hit the brakes, tried to turn at the same time. This is a pig, by the way. He spun, I'm looking in the right hand rear view, he spun out on the edge of the, must have hit the edge of the blacktop, gripped up there, ripped his feet to pieces, I don't know, like it would have hurt, I reckon. Rolled or something probably, I didn't see that much, it was all a big thing of dust then, and then he got up and took off back the way he came from. It was an absolute pisser anyway. So see here where it's getting really bushy to the sides of the road, this is where I'm slowing down more. I don't trust it, I've got no clearance, right? Now you can risk it for the biscuit. Someone with a bull bar might just go flying on through, like the sign said, reduce speed. We need 50 metres clear at the sides. Okay, so roos we've covered, they're just unpredictable. You really need to watch out for them. If you see them hopping along the road, unless they're at 50 metres away in that clearing, you need to be cautious, either slowing down a little bit or slowing down a lot. Pigs, they're solid, man. You don't want to hit one of them. That could be like hitting concrete and rip you. You know, cows, you definitely don't want to hit one of them. If you're going to hit a cow, if you're going to hit something big, you don't want to be trying to dodge it either, right? So, some examples, right? So, if there's a kangaroo and it's on the road, I'm on the brakes, and once I get to a lower speed, last minute is where I'm going to be manoeuvring. And you might manoeuvre your way right into it, because like I said, it changes direction, they're unpredictable, right? On a dirt road, you want to be very careful with your manoeuvring, because you don't want to roll the car. If you're manoeuvring and you're a bit sideways when you hit a cow, for example, can you just imagine that situation? So the car's sideways manoeuvring and then boof into a cow, and then it's going to be sideways over the cow, it's going to roll down the road, things are going to get real messy for everybody. So don't try and dodge a big black cow or any other colour. You just need to keep the vehicle straight is your best option, unless you know what you're doing. Unless you slow down and you can just drive around the cow sort of thing, 40 k's maybe. You're not going to roll the car at 40 k's, I don't think, you know, disclaimer, just my opinion, all this, you know what I mean? I'm no roll car expert, but at high speed you've got a much higher chance of serious injury or death, rolling vehicles. Once you slow it down, you should be The other thing I do, so we've got all this bush here, we don't know what to see. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Over here on the right, we've got bush, at times almost up to the edge of the road. We've got approximately 20 metres, 30 metres to the private property fence line, and the whole paddocks are cleared, like on the left here, right? So you can see what's going on the paddock, and you can see that it was all clear on the side of the road if it was clear. Now, I like trees, and we shouldn't chop them all down, but I think private property should be made to keep a percentage of trees, little groups of forest here or there, the odd tree here or there. I understand we're going to do some farming, but guess what? The cows like some shade too. Water and shade, please. But can we please get rid of all this trees at the side of the road and make it clear to the fence? Can we get those in onto that property? It'd be much safer for everybody, save all the damage, save all the injuries, all the inconvenience. Anyway, I think I'm just about done. What else do we see? Goats. Goats are another one. Generally, they're pretty scared. They'll run off the road. So you don't have to worry too much about goats. Generally, they're smaller as well. But they're a bit dopey as well. They could walk out. You know, they're about to cross the road. They're the ones you got to worry about. Any of these animals that are about to cross the road. A cow that's walked out, it's following the rest, and he's just going to cross the road, and you might have an attitude, just go, you know what, good luck, mate. This is my area, and you've got to hit the brakes, right? So you keep an eye out for those big ones crossing the road. If they're just having a munch on the grass, they're probably just going to stay there. If they're 10 metres back from the edge, you know what I mean, 10 plus something like that, you can probably just fly past at speed. They're not going to go anywhere as long as their head's down and they're munching. They're not going to really give a stuff about you. So, dirt road down here. Who wants to know what road I'm on? Okay, I think it was Cookies Road or something like that. Heading south from Ningen. N-Y-N-G-A-N, Ningen. Pretty cool little town. Check it out sometime. Cockies is the name of this road. Cockies. And it's very smooth. It's a great dirt road. I highly recommend it. Put your centre diff lock on so you don't wreck it for us. And if you are, it's not corrugated at the moment, but under certain conditions you're going to have to let your tyres down for your vehicle and to hopefully not make it any worse. Driving on it, people make it worse. What other wildlife we've got? So goats, not too much to worry about. There's been you get a lot of goats out this sort of area. What other wildlife? What have we got sitting there? Kangaroos, see? So we're on the brakes, we've set, there you go, a little bit more. That's why you hang around 17 minutes. This is a long talk, I'm on my own, there's nobody else yakking on the UHF, nobody else on the road. Good opportunity to have a chat. Right, so what you do as soon as you see something is a bit of a driving skill, right? You don't want to be just jumping on the brake and hitting it hard, because your ABS will be kicking in and you won't have your best effective braking. What you want to be doing is setting up the brakes, setting up the brake pedal, right? So as soon as you see something, your foot comes across the brake and starts on it, it's going to start warming them up, it's going to close up the distances between, because you've got a bit of a distance between your pads and your rotors, because you just cruise on the road for the last 100 k's maybe, or 50 or 20 or whatever. No brakes. So it's just getting pushed back a little bit. So you need to set it up. Otherwise they're going to fly in and then hit the rotors, and it's kind of like over effective locking up, and then your technology comes in to help you out. So set your brakes up first. Remember to keep it straight. If you go hard on the brakes, the vehicle's going to get really light in the rear, because all the brake weight goes to the front of the vehicle, and it might want to try and come around. It can get a bit sideways, whatever. That's where your vehicle technology might help you out. But if not, you might have to back off the brakes or drop the brake and reapply. That comes into driving skills. Maybe you want to learn some stuff from an advanced driver course. But I think it's getting a bit like everything else these days. The people doing the teaching aren't really that good. All the old school skills and everything seems to be just going, and it's hard to get anything taught right. So there's a lot of things going down at the moment around the world, from small to big. cows all over the joint here, you know, like I said, they don't care, mate. They're saying whatever. So like I said, if you hit a cow, it's not good, but you can see he's moving over that way. It's all good. See it, see, he, she, whatever. Whoa! What do you reckon happened here? That's what it looks like when it's cooked. What make and model, anyone? Spare bike, a couple of bikes here if you need them. Spare parts, it's got a notice to remove on it. Interesting. Thought you might be interested to see that. Quick one. What a disaster. Full meltdown. Well, I guess they're coming back to get it.